Testing, testing, testing. This is a test of the live stream audio. I'm just going to keep on talking for about 30 seconds. Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check. Is the audio working for the live stream? Check, 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 check. Check, 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 check.
Okay, thank you, Kenneth. Okay, good morning, everyone. This is our Wednesday, November 6th regular Board of Commissioners meeting. I will call this meeting to order. Commissioners Jacobson, Commissioner Hall, and myself constitute a quorum. And we will move into recognitions and proclamations. Item A, recognition of service. So when we call your name, make sure to grab your certificate and wait over there for the photo op. We would really appreciate that. So let's begin with Lessa Wagner, 5 years of service, Health and Human Services. Lessa, do I have that right? Okay. How about Ian Williams? Oh, wow. Okay, we know Ian's here. All right. You got the team. Community justice.
Yeah.
Okay, oh boy, need bifocals, I guess. Seth Lewis, 10 years, Sheriff's Office. Is Seth here? Okay, Sheriff Landers will take that. Gary Malley, 10 years, Public Works. Gary? Okay. All right, Scott Cote, 10 years of service, Community Justice.
Scott.
Cole. Sorry, Scott. Cole. All right, Scott, hang out up there. And last but not least, today, Joseph Davidson, 15 years, our assessor. Okay, here comes the photographer.
Yeah, sure. Be something new.
There we go. Okay, we appreciate you. Thank you. Okay, that brings us to item B. This is new employee recognitions. Cody Larson will bring us up to speed.
Good morning. My name is Cody Larson. I'm the Recruitment and Compensation Specialist for the county. I'm going to introduce the new hires that were not able to attend the meeting today. And then we have some folks to introduce themselves and one employee who wasn't able to make the last meeting. So the folks who were not able to make it today, we have Mark Adams, transit driver, Robert Brahman, lead winter shelter aide, Amy Dempsey, certified medical assistant, Michael Fitzgerald, transit driver, Angela Harson, syringe services and harm reduction coordinator, Matthew Hegerberg, deputy sheriff and patrol, Brittany Hurling, lead winter shelter aide, Ethan Herring, mechanic and public works, Morgan Kilduff, a youth care specialist, Christian Maxwell, lead winter shelter aide, Christina Knopfsinger, lead winter shelter aide, Kim Roberts, support service specialist in the primary care, Jeremy Stevens, lead winter shelter aide, Michael Thornycroft, deputy district attorney, Claudia Tower, tax deputy, part-time no benefits. So those are who I'm introducing, and I'll let the rest introduce themselves.
Excellent, thank you.
My name is Marco Ibarra, and I'm the lead winter shelter aide.
Good morning, good morning.
Welcome.
Hey, Mark. Yeah, stick around. Thank you. Okay.
William Crispino, Senior Parole and Probation Technician, for Department of Community Justice, Adult Parole and Probation.
All right, thank you.
My name is Jade Weber. I'm a corrections technician with the sheriff's office. I'm currently in the jail.
All right, good morning.
Hi, my name is Angela Tiger, and I am with HSS. I am with Child and Family Service Division.
All right, good morning.
My name is Amber Menke. I'm currently another shelter aide lead in training, and I'd like to get into teaching someday or veterans advocacy.
Wonderful.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, here he comes. Scrunched together a little there, maybe. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you so much. Great to have you on board. I just did want to note, we do have a green light up here, recognizing Operation Green Light. We don't have a formal proclamation, it seems like.
We already adopted. one.
Okay, so we're good. Okay, so the light shines.
And I was also
Um,
just going to add that the courthouse light is green too out in front if you drive by at night.
Ooh, nice.
That's part of that.
I
So
like that.
Someone asked if it was for Halloween and I
Mm.
said, no.
Purple maybe next
Yeah.
year, huh? Okay, so we are moving to the adoption of the consent calendar. These items are routine or have come before us. Commissioners Holler, Jacobson, any items that you want to highlight?
I don't want to pull out anything specific. I was just going to say it's good to see a lot of our ARPA contracts go through
Mm.
before the end of the year. So I'm glad we're getting that done.
Yeah, yeah, and a lot of activity happening as well with our shelters. So these may be on consent, but if you take a look, a lot of the work we're doing really runs deep here on consent. I want to make sure that I am abstaining from signing the 10-2 minutes, so please make that noted. And with that, I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Do we need to pull the 10-2 minutes and make a separate motion?
You can do it together. He's just not voting on it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Your
Just
two
one-
votes are still.
Okay,
gonna
just
override.
wanted to make sure I understood. All right, I'll second the motion.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner Miller, I'd like to bring attention again to, under the consent agenda,
Oh,
item
Mhm.
33, the report and timeline for the animal shelter.
Mm.
I was just telling the Sheriff Landers, as it pertains to the animal shelter, we've been waiting for good weather to
Uh-huh.
pour the footings and the foundation. It appears that I had asked our emergency management office if they had a crystal ball and that they could look
Mm.
into it and tell us if we were going to get some sunshine here shortly, because we have fallen behind about 8 to 10 days in terms of our timeline, and hopefully this will enable us to get that up and running and completed this week.
Administrator Johnson, on that note, will this be kind of a routine update we see on the animal shelter?
Every meeting, sir, as I
Okay.
informed back when we started this 4 weeks
Okay.
ago, that you would be getting these as a courtesy to keep the community aware of it, transparency and accountability.
Okay. I think,
Administrator Johnson, could we just maybe make that a standing agenda item under discussion instead of kind of pulling it from consent? I think that would be nice. Go right?
That's the pleasure of the
Yeah.
commission. I'll be more than happy to do so.
yeah, I think that sounds great. It'll stand out a little bit better too. Okay, so let's move to decision and action. Skipping public hearings, we have none. And we're visiting this item again, reappointment of Lincoln County Surveyor, County Council Kristen Yule on this one.
Thank you, commissioners. So we have order before you under ORS 204, where the board has the authority to appoint the surveyor, currently Mr. Adam. This would be an appointment for a 4-year term, so it expire on December 31st of 2028.
Okay. Commissioner Jacobson, you were out at the last meeting when we had a look at this, but I think we were very enthusiastic.
Yeah, I did watch the video, so it seems like you guys are on board. I am on board as well. So if we're ready, I can make a motion if you're ready for that.
Please
Sure.
do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will make a motion to reappoint our Lincoln County Surveyor, Mr. Adam, as presented.
All right.
I second that motion.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All right.
Where's he? Oh,
And
you are.
there he is.
Yeah.
There is our surveyor. Thank you, Mr. Adam. Item B, resolution ordering the closure of county roads and public roads to overnight camping. Council Yule, possibly Council Holbrook.
I think Mr. Holbrook is not here. So before you is a resolution adopting closure of county roads. for overnight camping. And so under Chapter 9 of the Lincoln County Code, the board can prohibit camping upon all of the county public roads. And this is to basically ensure that law enforcement has the tools necessary to enforce this provision. So,
Okay,
any questions?
Mr. Chair.
please.
Council Yule, do you know the request is being brought forward by our code enforcement team? Have there been problems with this, or is this more preventive in nature?
Oh, no, there is ongoing problems still with this. So this is just another tool to enable code enforcement to address this.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything or thoughts from you, Commissioner Jacobson?
Yeah, I guess just kind of a question. I know that code enforcement was involved in coming up with this for, guiding legal counsel. I kind of just wanted to make sure that our sheriff's office was on board.
Sheriff Landers,
Yeah.
would you come up and also Mr. Dewan, our Public Works Director, maybe you could jump up here too. And to your point, Commissioner Jacobson.
So the sheriff's office does participate on code enforcement.
I know they do. I just, wanted to check in. Yeah.
Yeah, good morning, Commissioners. Curtis Landers, Lincoln County Sheriff.
Good morning, Michael Dewan, Public Works Director.
To be honest, no, it was first I've seen it in here. I know that we do participate on code enforcement, and I think Mr. Dewan is actually from our conversation this morning, but this was the first I saw the ordinance was in the agenda when I read through the packet this week. So I do agree with Council Yule. It will give us a tool, and I just don't know some of the situations that they're encountering right now that they're wanting to use it for. I mean, it's no secret. You drive up even the Bay Road between Newport and Toledo, and you can see situations occurring nightly along that route, just a simple drive too.
Yeah. Well, I can add, I've been participating in the code enforcement meetings for several months now. I don't attend every meeting. I actually skipped the one this morning to prepare for this board meeting, but no, it's been an effective group, very collaborative, but a lot of the occurrences that arise stem from vehicles parked, camping, but long-term exposure on, in public right-of-way, whether it's a county road or just a public road. And a lot of the issues they've been dealing with, stem to public safety, public health, nuisances. And I think this was an attempt to, rather than address symptoms, address the source of it. And it was brought to everyone's attention that within the county code, and perhaps county council, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm paraphrasing, it basically states that it is prohibited to camp along any public road that the board deems it's prohibited to camp along, but it didn't cite any. So that's, reading that in the current code stemmed this discussion, but I really think this would provide a good set of tools that code enforcement can use to address a lot of the issues that they see. And I think it does allow a little bit of discrepancy, but, looking back, there's been a lot of discrepancy with, or discretion with what the sheriff's office or our department is allowed to do. So if you're comfortable with our decision so far, I think this would be a good tool going forward. I'm in full support of it.
Yeah, I'm in support of it too. It doesn't mean that we're going to go out and start citing everyone that's camping on the roadway. I think that the whole goal of code enforcement from the very beginning was compliance. So I think we want to generally address it as a compliance issue first, but have that tool necessary that if the compliance isn't exceeded with just, that general contact, then we have something to fall back on and then take further steps through county legal counsel.
Okay, thank you. That's what I needed to know.
Yeah. Thank you, gentlemen. And I think that is helpful to hear too. Sheriff, maybe just a thought on, as I'm driving through the community and certainly the Bay Road myself, you see campers maybe come and go. Sometimes you realize that RV that's there hasn't moved in a while. Any thoughts about how citizens approach these types of things when maybe they see a vehicle that they think has maybe been abandoned?
Yeah,
Steps.
they can definitely call into dispatch and report that. And obviously we will address it depending on, what the call. If it's just abandoned vehicle, we may send out code enforcement the next day. Patrol may go look at it depending on the circumstances that evening. But yeah, they can report those if they see those. And we do receive reports often about those type of circumstances, not just on the Bay Road. That was just one example because I travel it. But there are other roads that, roadways and county roads in the county that we see that on. So yeah, they're more than happy to report that to us and we'll address it.
Okay, well, I mean, the language here seems to be very straightforward. This is on decision today. Do you feel the need to look it over more thoroughly?
No, it was a quick read. I read it and then I looked up the defined camping in there, which I think is important because that's been probably the real crutch of the whole situation is that definition and addressing it with this ordinance would help that. So yeah, I may just note there's this one typo on the spelling of sheriff in there, but that's just a typo, so.
Okay. Well,
Just stands out.
Yes.
And Chair Miller, I'll offer that at a previous code enforcement meeting when this was discussed, Assistant County Counsel informed us that this would be being proposed at a future meeting.
Okay.
So I did get a chance to look at it prior. I was comfortable with it. I did review the definition of camping as well. That's the first question that came up. The one recommendation I did make, and it may have been in there to start with, was not to just identify county roads, but public roads in general. Because, the Sheriff's Department and code enforcement, they do patrol the entire county.
Yeah.
And again, I don't believe that this was specifically intended to go after camping. It's what is associated with camping and some of the problems they see.
Yeah. And another note too is that, our code enforcement team is a multidisciplinary team composed of multiple departments. They meet each week. So if they've gone over this as well, I think that's a good confidence for us that across our organization, we've looked at this issue and appreciate that it's finally here. It's going to give us an additional tool. So Commissioner Jacobson Hall, anything before we move on this? Okay, I'll take a motion then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I move we adopt this resolution ordering closure of county roads and public roads to overnight camping.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Okay, this moves us to discussion and information. And I think, yes, we have Peggy McGuire. I don't think I know, and others to join us. PIO LIP. It looks like we've got a presentation to go along. No, just the continuum of care documents there.
Yeah.
Okay. Good morning. Please introduce
Good
yourselves.
morning. Peggy McGuire. I'm the Executive Director of Community Services Consortium. We are the community action agency for Lynn, Benton, and Lincoln counties. And I have with me today Dina Eldridge, our Senior Operations Manager for Housing, and Liesl Eckert, by the way, a Lincoln County resident, who is our Housing Services Manager. I was here with you a few months ago and you gave CSC your support to begin the work to pull ourselves out of, or pull our county and our tri-county region out of the rural Oregon continuum of care, which is a 26 county continuum, and start the hard work of standing up our own tri-county continuum. So I'm just back here to invite Liesl, who's in charge of standing up this effort, to give you a little update as to where we are, and Dina to be here as our resident expert in case we have any questions that arise. I will just give you a quick update that I did give HUD the official notice that we're pulling out of the rural Oregon continuum of care. I also gave ROC, the rural Oregon continuum of care, that notice. And HUD has assigned a technical assistance firm to work with us on that effort. And Liesl was hired, and take it away, Liesl. You can fill in the rest.
Okay.
Right.
Excuse me. Thank you so much for having us here today to share this update. I'm using notes from the COC update document. Do we have that available for viewing?
So here, yes.
Oh, so you do have it. Give me just 1 second, Liesl.
Okay.
I was not told there was a presentation. but
Okay,
we can-
I apologize.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, we'll get you set up here. I've got it as well in our packet item online. We had like a one pager and then the update.
Yeah, the one pager was more just for your information,
Okay.
for commissioners to have in your informational packet.
Okay.
This is sort of a PowerPoint presentation that has some visuals for some of the items I'll be talking about.
Okay. So those 8 pages are what we're going to focus on for the
Yes.
moment. Okay.
Need to open this with Edge, so it will display big. Apologies.
Yeah. I know you'll get us there.
Okay.
This is great. Short and sweet, but it's got all the information.
Liesl did a fabulous update to the executive directors of the housing authorities, to all of the folks who are leading the work on the House Bill 4123 efforts in Lincoln and Benton counties, and the MAC group leads for Lynn County, and a few of our county commissioners were there, and they felt like the information that she was able to provide is something that really needed to go back out to each of the boards of commissioners. And so here we are today.
Okay. So that's just my introductory page, which we covered, so we can advance to the next slide. So I just wanted to give a reminder to folks, or let people know if you haven't heard of what a continuum of care is. It is a cross-sector planning body responsible for coordinating and implementing a comprehensive system to address the needs of people experiencing homelessness in a geographic region. So this visual is just showing sort of who are those cross-sector people who are involved in this planning body, not just housing providers, not just government, but businesses, people with lived experience, schools, housing developers. So anybody really who has interest in addressing homelessness in a geographic region. It's really bringing people together in an intentional way and having a coordinated effort to address those needs. A continuum of care is also required by HUD in order for us to be able to apply for what is called continuum of care homelessness funding. A lot of people aren't familiar with what funding is available through that, so we just sort of listed the items. So there's permanent supportive housing, that's long-term rent assistance and support for disabled people who have experienced long-term homelessness, or what HUD calls chronic homelessness. Rapid rehousing funding, which is for people experiencing literal homelessness who need shorter term assistance. There's also a funding source called the Youth Demonstration Project, which addresses youth homelessness. And then you also have the ability to apply for some planning funds. So to do some of the work that's required by HUD in order to be a HUD COC, you can apply for some planning funds that cover some of those costs. We can go to the next slide. So everybody always asks, why would we want to leave? Peggy just mentioned that we're part of the Rural Oregon Continuum of Care. Currently, that continuum of care represents 26 counties across the state of Oregon. So you can imagine lots of different counties with different capacities, lots of different regions with different priorities and abilities. And also kind of a small staff to support such a large area. If we were to become our own tri-county COC, we can really focus on the 3 counties. We're already a region that does a lot of planning and work together, so it really makes sense for Lynn, Benton, and Lincoln counties to kind of become a regional entity and its own COC. So part of that is the benefit of this coordinated regional effort to address homelessness, right? So it's coming together to address service gaps, coordinate resources, evaluate things on a tri-county level. I did want to just maybe remind people or let you know that in Lincoln County, we have the Lincoln County Homeless Advisory Board, which CSC is part of and is primarily a coordinated effort across local government. But they are sort of an example of the effectiveness of how intentional coordination can really lead to some good results for addressing homelessness. So they have developed a strategic plan, but also have experienced a lot of success because they were ready to like mobilize when funding became available. They were able to apply for some coordinated funding to bring to the region. The Housing Authority was in a good place to be that administrative lead, and they were ready to accept those resources when they came in. So you can see the effectiveness of that here in Lincoln County, and we would sort of be scaling that up to a tri-county level and have similar abilities with this tri-county continuum of care. So I'd mentioned it's an opportunity for us to access more of those federal grants. The Youth Homeless Demonstration Project is a grant that a lot of people in this area have been interested in pursuing. The ROC has just not really been able to participate in sort of the planning capacity that's required to have that grant. And so if we were our own tri-county continuum of care, we really believe we could be competitive in this area to apply for those youth.
The ROC, is that what you said?
The ROC hasn't been able to help anyone apply for that youth homelessness demonstration project. So if we become our own tri-county COC, the Lynn Benton Lincoln one, then we believe like this region could be competitive for that grant. We have some really good youth programs like Jackson Street. We have a really strong homeless school liaison here in Lincoln County who's very interested in doing some collaborative work to apply for that funding if it were available at the tri-county level.
And if I may add, HUD, when they consider a continuum for youth demonstration, they're looking to make sure that the entire continuum has the capacity. And the issue with ROC is there is hit and miss youth capacity across that 26 county continuum. So whereas Lynn Benton and Lincoln is well positioned, many of the other counties in the ROC are not. So they have applied for that funding repeatedly, and that's really been the identified deficiency.
Okay, thank you.
Another issue that occurred that really sort of made us think about becoming our own continuum of care is in 2023, the governor directed emergency order funds to continuums of care. And at that time, ROC received that funding, received $26 million, which was then allocated out to each county. There's 26 counties, so they got about $1 million each for that area. But Jackson County, which is its own continuum of care, but has a much smaller population than our tri-county region, actually got just a little over $8 million. So you can see if we were our own continuum of care, rather than getting a piece of an allocation that went to the rural Oregon continuum of care, we might have received something similar to that $8 million allocation that went to a county that had its own continuum of care. So just being a continuum of care that's prepared for potential funding that may be directed to COCs. So yes, it enables us to apply for that HUD federal funding for homelessness, but also there are other places that are now directing funds to continuums of care. And so it's important to be ready so that we can accept that and get a fair amount of funding for our region. And then finally, just having local control of data collection and reporting. So being able to be more responsive, just having more adequate staffing to support that data collection piece, accurate data and reporting and evaluation ability locally. You can go to the next slide. So this is just a timeline to show folks kind of where we started, and the star there at the end is aiming for us to be ready and able to apply for HUD funding. So HUD's funding cycle just went from being an annual cycle to a 2-year cycle. So folks just completed the competition application for the COC funding in this October, I think is when it was due. So it came out in the fall. Don't always know exactly when it's going to come out, somewhere between the spring and the fall, but rather than it being coming out again in 2025, it will come out in 2026 on this 2-year cycle. So our goal is to be ready to apply at that next cycle for this Tri-County region. So just the timeline shows sort of that work in 2023 and early 2024 of CSC really working to get consensus from the region that we should pursue a continuum of care for the Tri-County region. Like Peggy said, I was hired in June and we started that TA process. Right now, we have a regional steering committee that's working on the governing documents. So what are the bylaws? How is this going to work? What's the board going to look like? So we're in the process of finishing that document and getting that drafted. And then early next year in 2025, we have to have a membership meeting, pull a membership meeting together to approve those governing docs. And then we will submit all of the documentation that's required by HUD that says, hey, we're able to be our own continuum of care. We'll probably submit in the spring, and we're hoping to be identified as or approved as a HUD continuum of care by the end of June of 2025. And so then we have some work to do once we're our own continuum of care to then be ready to actually apply in 2026. So we'll have to establish membership, start having committee meetings, elect our board, have board meetings, do community capacity building so that people are ready to apply for those federal funds in 2026.
And just as a reminder, CSC said that we'd stand this up and we'd do this work of getting it started. But once the group actually forms its own leadership, they may decide that they want some sort of new leadership structure. They want another entity to take over as the collaborative applicant, which is the term that HUD uses. And we don't know what will happen, but our plan is to get us to that point.
Go to the next slide. This is just an image kind of showing the sort of HUD's idea of what the sort of component parts are of the continuum of care. So you have this sort of broad cross-sector membership at the top, and then they're designating the work of the continuum of care to an elected board, designated entities, and then different committees that might do work like an HMIS user group. HMIS is the Homeless Management Information System, so that's the data system for the services. Point in time count, we might have a committee that does the work of those things. So the designated entities are sort of asked by HUD to identify folks to do some of this heavier lifting work of what's required of a continuum of care to make sure that it's getting done adequately. So they're asking the COC to designate a coordinated entry lead. So this is an entity that sort of oversees the assessment and evaluation of people experiencing homelessness. How do they come into the service system? How do we prioritize people? How do we place them in programs or get them help that they need in that system? The collaborative applicant really documents a lot of the HUD requirements of the COC and essentially helps with the application process for all the people in the community, and then is in charge of bringing those together and submitting a collaborative applicant. So we submit one applicant for the region rather than different people sort of submitting their own applications to HUD. And then an HMIS lead would be someone who's in charge of overseeing the data piece of that system. So training and support for the service providers who are using it, evaluation and reporting, sort of that, all of the data things that need to be done. And go to the next slide. So we're starting to think about sustainable staffing for a COC just as early as like July of 2025 as we try to start doing all of these administrative things that are going to be required to be our own continuum of care. So we have sort of an estimated idea of having a full-time coordinator. So really doing that administrative piece, like are the meetings happening that are supposed to happening? Are we following the HUD guidelines? Are we staying on top of the timeline and are help sort of build some of that capacity as well. We're looking at maybe 2 full-time folks who work in the data system to make sure that we really are able to be responsive. And then just maybe a combination of administrative supervisory support that might be needed, and an estimate of 2 FTE. So we can apply for HUD planning funds, but you apply for them during that competition in 2026, and it does take some time to then be awarded that and have them available. And so we have this period of time where we're bridging to that point where we're going to need funding to be able to staff a continuum of care. And we won't have any HUD funding available to be part of that funding look. So that is something we are starting to have conversations with different entities and looking at some, various ideas for addressing that. You can go to the next. So just next steps. The steering committee is going to complete the draft of the governance charter. We'll have our first meeting to review and approve it. We'll submit our materials documenting our ability to meet the HUD requirements by June of 2025. We're working on identifying sustainable funding to staff the work of the COC, and then that just sort of outlines what is sort of the work that needs to happen, sort of starting around July when we're our own continuum of care that'll need to be addressed so that we're ready to apply for that funding in 2026. You guys have any questions for me?
You, but Commissioner Hall,
I'll defer.
okay. Surface gaps. Now, what do you mean when you mean surface?
Service gaps?
Service
Gaps.
Okay.
Sorry, that wasn't clear. Yeah, so I mean, we already have some ways that we do gaps analysis, but part of the requirement of the continuum of care is to identify where there are gaps in the service system. So, and when we're talking about the homeless service system, so who's not getting attention, or where do we need more services? I think, well, I won't tell you. I was like anecdotally coming from outside of this county, I noticed that there is a big need for like permanent supportive housing in the Tri-County region. And so to me, that's a very obvious service gap. And this particular funding is something where there is funding to really address that need. And I think that would be very valuable in this area.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure it was a new term I was unfamiliar with there. For, possibly the public's benefit too, we're familiar with CSC. Commissioner Hall is always on top of all the governance meetings and more. You two have done just a tremendous amount of work on the homeless plan. I guess what I'm getting to is, what do you think you might need from us, ideally in the short and long term, to help make this happen in very maybe plain and practical terms? Are we where we need to be with you in supporting these efforts? Anything stand out?
This is a good question. I'm thinking about it. I mean, we've had good support from the Homelessness Advisory Board in Lincoln County. And they are actually having some conversations about looking at their funding that comes through them, and also at municipal and government funding. So, I mean, funding sources are going to be a need, and are going to need to be identified if this is something we're going to sustain. I don't know, other things that you guys can think of?
I think you pointed it out rightly, Liesl. The LCHAB and the sister entities in the other 3 counties are really all coming together and saying, how do we make this entire network work? And how do we sustain this network? And so those conversations are most definitely happening. And I think that work will engender more communication, where we come back to you all and say, here are some areas where we think we're going to need some help.
Yeah, and I was just going to add to that, Commissioner Miller, that I just joined the LCHAB. It's called something like the Finance and Funding Subcommittee. We've only had 2 meetings, and this is some of the stuff that we're starting to talk about, not just with CSC, but sort of all the other homeless service stuff and how we maybe get more coordinated and finding the resources for those
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, well, kind of a lot to unpack from a bureaucratic sort of, look through it and see where we need to be at the table. Just for also another practical viewpoint, for the community, when they think of CSC, what are those entry points for someone who's looking for that housing, and where do they begin to get services locally or tri-county?
I'm gonna let these ladies, this is what they do at CSC,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna let them talk about it.
Our role, as Peggy mentioned in the beginning, I'm the senior housing operations manager for CSC. So I oversee all of the state and federal homeless dollars, as well as, the occasional private or foundation dollars that we get. So um, we're lucky in our region because we have a lot of partners who are also in this work. That's one of the things that makes us different than maybe some of the other counties that are in the Rock. So as an example, CSC doesn't own or operate any kind of homeless shelter. So we work extensively with our partners to do that. We're also we don't typically hire case managers who are specialists in mental health. And so, or long-term care for people who have chronic disabilities and may need lifelong support to stay stably housed. It goes beyond just rent assistance for some folks. That's the permanent supportive housing end of the spectrum. So, for example, one of the continuum of care grants that CSC had was a small permanent supportive housing grant. And it was only enough money. It was it's still less than $100,000. It was really only enough to serve 5 individuals a year. So we partnered with Corvallis Housing First, which is an entity in Benton, primarily in Benton County, who has developed their own transitional housing. They're in the middle of building physical permanent supportive housing units, which is a great step. But they also ran a turnkey shelter very similar to Coastal Phoenix Rising up in Lincoln City for a few years ahead of that. So we had already kind of did a little pilot with them with some state money to where they had the more specialized case managers who were actually in the building where these people lived every day with them. So they could provide them really, in-depth wraparound services to people who had lived, many of them, many years on the street and had many health conditions that go with that. And they had housing. They had actual units of space to live, which was the key focus as well. So we worked as them being our sub with that continuum of care grant for about 5 years. And just this last December, when the third or fourth renewal happened, we made them the grantee. So
Tina,
now,
if I could interrupt just one sec. So if somebody in the community needs help,
yeah,
and then we usually ask people to either call our phone lines
right.
or reach out.
So I
via
got on a
email.
tangent. So really, where CSC's niche has always been in the housing and homeless field is prevention is a huge thing with us. Trying to keep people from becoming homeless in the first place, or if, getting them at least from couch surfing back to permanent housing has always been a huge priority for our community members and us. And then in the realm of homeless prevention, we use what's called rapid rehousing, which is generally to help people who've been homeless for, maybe not years and years and who don't have those chronic health conditions, but they've suffered the loss of their housing. They've ended up on the street or in a car or a shelter, and they need some help, sometimes just really short-term help to pay a deposit, a couple months rent, get them back in. Or in other instances, maybe they need some case management for a year or two to become stable enough so that they can sustain that unit while they're working on developing their income, maybe completing a career, technical training so that they can have, a sustainable living and that kind of thing. So that's usually where we sit. So people call us at various points of that spectrum. But as I said, if they need immediate assistance, we refer them to local shelters if they need just a roof over their head. We try and take care of those folks in the middle and work with our partners who do the other end of the spectrum.
So just one last quick piece of that,
Yeah.
thanks, Dina, is if there's kind of no wrong door. So
Mm.
wherever people show up at a partner provider or at a CSC office or call CSC, we're going to assess where somebody is at, ask a lot of questions, and then either refer them out or connect them with an internal staff member who can help them navigate the system.
Thank you.
Commissioner Miller, I have
Yes,
questions.
please.
Are you
Yeah.
ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
First, this is just a curiosity question. So the HUD funds you mentioned that would eventually, hopefully, come in to help fund this, are those CDBG funds or what HUD program is that coming from? It's just a
Continuum
curiosity.
of
question.
care.
Continuum of care.
Care, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
It's a specific funding.
Got it. The next question I have, which is sort of related, was the Emergency Solution Grant or ESG. This is a question a staff member kind of asked me to ask you since you were going to be here today. Is that money going to be dispersed to shelters or is CSC sort of keeping that for their own programs and costs?
Well, Emergency Solutions Grant is separate from continuum of care funding. It is federal funding.
Uh-huh.
And how it goes out to the states differs. In some states, it is passed to continuums of care, and the continuums of care determine who's going to be the ESG grantee.
Mhm.
In Oregon, however, the sole grantee direct from HUD is Oregon Housing and Community Services, the state department over affordable housing and homeless programs. So the way Oregon does this is they distribute ESG funds to community action agencies based on a funding formula
Mhm.
that consists of things like your point in time count, your how rent burdened your communities are, your level of poverty, how many homeless veterans you may have, and that sort of thing. So that's how CSC gets ESG money.
Mhm.
And I've got to tell you, we've been notified by Oregon Housing and Community Services that they intend to change the way they distribute the formula,
Mhm.
as well as keep some more of the money for themselves. And so we're going to go from $179,000 a year to about $154,000 a year. So this is not the millions of dollars that people may read that comes from ESG. Yes, nationally, there are millions of dollars, but that's the kind of money that CSC gets for 3 counties.
Got it.
And so Dina, what's your plan for how that gets distributed?
Thank
What we have done with it is use it for our homeless management information system and data collection.
Okay.
The one thing about it is a difficult program to administer. For one thing, it requires a dollar for dollar match.
Of non-federal money.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you get 100,000, you have to have 100,000 of something else. When we have tried to use it for things like prevention or rapid rehousing, there's a lot of rules that come into it that made it very onerous to use, including things like rent limits, having to inspect every single unit that we give a dollar to, even if the people have lived there for 10 years. So what a lot of folks in Oregon ended up doing was once continuum of care, coordinated entry systems became almost another program that you run. Most community action agencies that don't have their own shelters are using them for data collection to run those systems.
Thanks. The last thing I had to say is to you specifically, Dina, and I don't think I've ever gotten to tell you this in person, so I thought I would just take the opportunity. I just really wanted to say a very late belated thank you for all of the work you did with wildfire survivors in Lincoln County with the OHCS Disaster Recovery Rapid Rehousing Funds. That was just a really, really difficult time and really difficult money. And so just like I said, a very belated thank you in person for all the work that you and your team did. With
Well,
that
I'll
and all of our
accept that.
survivors.
I'll accept that. Uh, Thank you, but really, we had another department, our workforce department, that took that challenge on. Sheree Cooper's group.
Were
in
you,
Lincoln
you are
County.
always who I went to.
I know, that's okay.
There was issues.
It
so
does
I-
come through
I
me.
appreciate you.
Well, thank you, and
Thank you,
it
Commissioner
was a,
Jacobs.
yeah, we appreciate it, and I know that group, all of us just were, I'm sure the thought is always, we wish we could still do more,
Yeah.
and we
I-
still do.
I would just say that this is exactly typical of what happens at CSC. We try to present, okay, just come to us and tell us what you need. And behind the scenes, the managers and the team are frantically working to figure out, how do we braid the money? What's the color of this money? How does this go together with this money? And get the dollars and the services out the door seamlessly to the rest of the world.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That's all I had.
Yeah,
Thanks.
well, and
Yeah.
I would echo what you're saying. Thanks to all of you for your administrative endurance,
Thank
if
you.
you
Oh,
will.
that's a
Thank
great
you.
word. Thank you, Commissioner Miller. I like that. Yeah.
And the gymnastics that happen to kind
I'm
of
writing that
all
down.
this going for really what is the outcome that we want, right?
It's our pleasure. It's what we
Right.
do.
So anything else? Administrator Johnson or Commissioner Hall?
Just very pleased to see this continuing to move forward. We've been working on it for a while now, but I really think the outcome will make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your
Okay.
time this morning.
All right.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Thank you. Okay.
One
let's-
last piece of advice,
Sure.
Peggy, if you would stay up here. I don't know if you're aware of this. Peggy is retiring at the end of the year. This will probably be the last time we get to see her smiling face here. And on behalf of the county, I'd like to extend a warm thank you for all of the work that you have done in your leadership related to the organization. Thank you.
I know I leave you in good hands, though.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so let's jump to our next item. It looks like we're going to item B, personnel rules. Council Yule, are you lead on this one?
I can. I think Mr. Collier
Oh.
might not be present. So if you go to the attachment,
Yes, in our packet,
Yep,
and I've looked it
so-
over.
so essentially it's adding the day after Thanksgiving as a holiday for non-represented employees. And then in our rules, we have the bargaining units of FAPO and can you go to the, sorry,
To where?
in LCA General, that, so scroll down. Yeah, you should have the, right, up there. Up. See where it's red? Go back up, Ken, sorry.
Are we
right
on
there.
the attachment, Council Yule? or-
Yeah, so this is the amendment of the rules. So the LCA General and FAPO bargaining units both bargained for the day after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
The road department actually received the day before Thanksgiving off as a holiday. So bargaining units have different holidays based on their contracts. So this would allow non-represented employees to receive the day after Thanksgiving, effective this year.
Ooh, yeah, I've gotta do that.
And just one thing I want to add too, I think we need to update our online personnel rules with the July 7th rules.
Could you scroll back up, Mr. Lip? So to the second page, sorry, of where the changes were. He just included the whole article. So,
Exhibit 1, Article 10.
yep, keep going, guys.
Okay.
So right here, so this is, we went to, this is changing it from the pay periods. So now we have 24 pay periods. So this is, the accruals are the same, but now our pay periods went from 26 to 24. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Commissioner Miller, you kind of
Yeah.
got put up there. What was the
Oh,
other thing you
yeah,
were gonna say?
just, if Kenneth could double check on just that. It seems like am I wrong
The
on?
latest version I've received, I did replace online, but I should double check it if you. want
Okay,
something.
okay, yeah, and I'll cross-reference that too. I think it's just one version behind maybe.
Okay.
Okay, any questions on this item? I've gone over it. I'm comfortable with it.
I'm comfortable with it, and given that Thanksgiving is very soon, I would
Mhm.
suggest we make, adopt this today.
I'll
Okay,
second the motion.
I didn't make a motion,
Oh,
but
I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion to adopt the new personnel rules. Yeah.
okay, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, we jumping to our next item. Are all okay? Does anyone need a quick break or
I would
anything?
appreciate that.
Okay.
I
Thank
would
you.
as well.
Okay, so let's come back at 11 and we'll re-engage. Okay, everyone, let's get settled and we'll get back here into the groove.
Fair board.
Okay, so we are coming back into session. Thank you for the break, everyone. Item C and discussion and information, Fair Board expansion terms. Administrator Johnson is with us.
Thank you, Commissioners. Um, The subject today is Fair Board appointments and terms. Question is, should the Board of Commissioners continue the expansion of the Fair Board as identified within its code and bylaws to 7 members and adjust staggering term limits to ensure continuity and institutional knowledge, which we've learned over many years fades. And to ensure that the background is presented to what the purpose of the fair is and attachments as it pertains to its Fair Board, its bylaws. Within the context of that, the rationale, again, is that the Fair Board can be comprised of 7 members. It's currently at 5 today. This will give you ability to be able to enhance the continuity and institutional memory. To ensure the adequate staggering of those terms, however, I wanted you to know, and in that under discussion, under the staff report, if they all took 3-year terms at this point, we would have 5 people up for positions in 2007. I don't think that would be anyone's intent. So the recommendation is to have position number 6 initially be 1-year term and then expire on December 31st, 2025. This would then line up with the term of position number 2, so that you'd have 2 people up at that point. Meanwhile, position number 7 would be a 2-year term and expire on December 31st, 2026. This would line up with position 3. So then you would only have 3 positions that would conclude, yeah, it's.
I think I follow.
You,
Yeah.
you get all of this,
Thank you, Jim, yeah.
that would be up in 2027. I know it's a little confusing, but it does work out extremely well and presents an opportunity for the commission, for you folks to continue to look at the composition of the board as it pertains to the activity. Now, within the context of this, we do have also a separate recommendation, and that is you have one Fair Board member whose term is up at the end of December of this year. You can do several different things with that. One, you could publish the position vacancy, which could include at some point the reappointment of the current Fair Board member. Or you could reappoint the current Fair Board member now. And by the way, that board member has requested reappointment. So with that, trying to stay on top of our boards and committees. This is but one of many that we have, and gives you an update on the Fair Board. I'll take any questions you may have.
Discussion, Commissioners Hall, Jacobson. Thoughts?
Mr. Chair?
Yeah.
I like the proposed direction. Most of our boards and committees are advisory in nature, but the Fair Board's different. We expect it to be a working board, and I think as we move toward a full complement, more person power and hopefully even more diversity in representing different segments of the community.
Yeah. Yeah, I echo that. And Administrator Johnson, I think here on the staff report, the purpose of the Fair Board is, just to be clear here on background, right under background. And really that delineation between what the Fair Board is there to do, in regard to the fair versus the commons with its larger purpose. Um, to your point, Commissioner Hall, being at the fair this year and then being with the fair board members as they debriefed in the evening, they were working hard, very committed. The new members that we had added when we expanded to 5, I think was great. It brought some diversity and different perspectives into that working board. So I'm generally supportive of this. I think more will help enhance that function and then also give them more capacity during the event itself, because that is a lot to do in a compressed period of time. You're very familiar with that, Councilor Jacobson, with all of 4-H activities. So I'm generally supportive of this and also supportive too, I think, of that reappointment at this point in time. So
Yeah, thanks, Commissioner Miller. So, yeah, a couple issues as I see them. One is the staggering of the terms. I think that's very smart. I think it's hard to have 5 people leave all at the same time. And I don't
Yeah.
think that was the intention of us when we made this new ordinance to have everyone leave at the same time. I think trying to recruit again to get up to 7 board members, I'm supportive of that. And when it comes to the publish or reappoint, I think for now I would be comfortable reappointing because we still have those 2 additional seats that we would be trying to fill. So I'm okay with reappointing that one, publishing for the open 2 and then staggering those terms. That makes sense to me.
And Administrator Johnson, we'll go through that applicant process and interviews, which I thought was a very, good process too, as we
It's
expand.
been what's fascinating is that the interest in the Fair Board had waned, as you know, but has come back, I think, with great robust nature in that there's quite a bit of interest. I mean, we're just not getting people, just one person per position. We're getting multiple applicants in, and I think that serves us well at this point. And I think, as identified in the staff report, there are a variety of things. One, it's post-COVID, so there's work that's going on with that. There is interest because the event is seeing, I think, an increased level of interest in the community and growth. I think that's going to only continue to grow as you talked about the redevelopment of what we know as the commons. And as people see that, their interest will certainly grow in the context of that over several years, looking out on the horizon. So I think we're at the right place at the right time with this group right now.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the fact that the commission is engaged in reviewing the applicants. That's, I think, is really important.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. So I think when we kind of didn't have a fair board, or it was Commissioner Hall and 2 others and one passed away. I did that first swath when we got us to 3. I think Commissioner Miller, you did the last one. So
Yep.
maybe it's Commissioner Hall's turn to be on that kind of interview
Yeah.
committee for the new candidates that come in to fill those 2, if you're.
I'd be glad to.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a good process and this expansion is going to serve us. I really think so.
So what we would do to finish this off is we would go out after your direction today and a subsequent approval of a motion. We would go out and publish for position 6 and 7
Okay.
and have those back to you. And I would suspect, while we could push it, I would suspect we would be in front of you the first meeting of the new year for your review and direction. How is that as a timeline?
Sounds
Sounds
reasonable.
good. And Administrator Johnson, so we're publishing 6 and 7. What, I'm asking you this so I can get ready to make a motion. What position number are we reappointing?
1. Thank you for asking.
And that's probably
Yes.
2 motions, I
Position
guess, so.
2.
Okay, I'll start with the first motion. I make a motion that we publish for positions 6 and 7 for the Lincoln County Fair Board.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And then I'll make a second motion that we make a motion to reappoint position number 1 to the Lincoln County Fair Board.
Second that motion.
Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay. All right, Fair Board continues its momentum. Okay, we are nearing, I think this is going to be our last item here under discussion. Johnson Street Bridge, maintenance, Administrator Johnson, Public Works Director Michael Dewan. We'll start probably with a staff report, or gentlemen, wherever you think it's prudent.
Chair, Commission, the subject matter today is the Johnson Street Bridge maintenance. The question before us is, should Lincoln County assist the Bear Creek Hideout Number 2 Road District with bridge repair work on the Johnson Street Bridge? The district is here and I suspect you will ask them for, and their members for their input and direction. This has been an interesting proposition for us. I've been here 2.5 years. Our Public Works Director is just coming up on a year.
Just past 1 year.
1 year. So for us to go back and review all the documentation, we got a education on looking at our documentation present in the county clerk's office. As I identified, the information on the report shows what the potential fiscal impacts or range of the fiscal impact might be in current dollars, although I've simply identified that there would be more to an analysis to determine a gross maximum price. Well, within the context of that, we've provided you a variety of information relative to the timelines of when activities occurred, such as a local improvement district, and then the formulation of the road district. So you have that background as it pertains to this. So where we come from is that the commission received a request or notice from the road district identifying that they need help and assistance. Their belief is, and I can certainly understand that they believe that the county is responsible for the maintenance of that bridge. And within the context of that, there are documents that we were looking for that we have not been able to find. And if I've asked the representative of the road district, we'd be more than obliged. I mean, we're newbies here in the scheme of the 132-year history of this county. And so we were trying to find and do our due diligence to find a board order that it would have suggested to you by your predecessors that the county is to pay for this.
And Administrator Johnson, to be clear here, I think you're referring to right now maybe the creation of the special road district itself or the LID?
Neither one, sir. And what I'm saying is that based upon what we have looked into was beyond and above either the LID or beyond the formulation of the district, was there any other document that the commissions at this time in history took that we could find a board order on that said the commission on this date obligates the county to this specific maintenance? And could we find that in a board order, or could we find it in a separate contract? And we looked, and Public Information Officer Lip, myself, Public Works Director Dewan, our county clerk's office diligently has been looking through it. And I must add that we get caught up and we don't realize how quickly technology has changed that which we do our job in, or the environment we do our job in. So at that point, when all this was going on, there was no audio of the minutes of the meeting. There is certainly no video of of any meetings relative to this. So all we do is have the written word, and we can look into it. And while I must admit, there may have been some spirit or intent, we can't find anything that actually solidifies this. And it's difficult because I think it's incumbent upon me as a county administrator to provide and find this information for you. And honestly, I haven't been able to do it. So within the context of that, we tried to put together a staff report that looks at that. Now I'm going to turn it over to Public Works Director to identify then backwards to the LID and then the road district, how Oregon State statute relates to that. And then we'll try to give you some recommendations to frame this
Yeah.
and continue the conversation with the road district members.
And Mr. Dewan, before you proceed, commissioners, we have many in the audience that want to provide inputs. We bring them in at this point in the discussion instead of waiting for public input per se.
Well, I have some questions first I'd like to.
But just
get
procedurally, I mean, let them go first. Okay, all right, well, proceed.
Well, again, for the record, Michael Dewan, Public Works Director, and, not to reiterate everything that's been covered so far, but the matter before you was brought to my attention last year. I'm going to estimate December, January. It was a little bit of a blur. But the entire issue came before our department, I'd say in 2022. And I've had some communications with representatives of the district since then. Depending on where those communications led to, I believe it was earlier this year in August when the special road district reached out to the board, just to put that in order. But from looking into it, from what I can, put together, my understanding of it is, prior to 1999, there was a wooden bridge out there. And I've dug through some files and seen some photos and seen the condition of it at the time, and there was a need to replace it. A variety of options were looked into. And I'll interject right there. I know there's members of in the audience from the road district, and if anyone has a different perspective, I'm definitely open to that. I'm not saying that this is exactly what happened. I'm saying this is what I could, discern from what happened.
Wooden bridge prior to 1999.
Yes, but in any way, the bridge was replaced around 1999, and an LID was formed to pay for that bridge, and I believe that was formed in March of 2000. And minutes from that meeting were provided to me earlier this year. Later on in 2008, the special road district was formed to maintain the roads out in that area. But anyway, when the matter with the bridge condition right now came to my attention, the interaction I had with the board was specific to the minutes of the board meeting of March 15th, 2000, when the LID was formed.
Okay.
And within those minutes, there's discussion with regards to future maintenance of the bridge. And please keep in mind, my experience in this field, I'm very specific. It's not to say that I'm right, but I have a certain way of interpreting it, which may be different from others. So when I read the minutes, and yes, right there, thank you. And it does state that, and I'm going about halfway down, next to speak was Mr. Gene Lawson. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Walsh inquired about responsibility for future bridge maintenance. Mr. Beisman described his previous research regarding bridge design, explained that last year's flood event was extreme. The rock riprap did not have a chance to settle before the flood. A new type of rock has been placed, and the bridge will be inspected every 2 years. And I'll interject, that's in accordance with federal requirements. Further discussion revealed that future maintenance would be done by the county and disaster relief funds would be applied for. And so I think that statement right there, I believe it, it allows some ambiguity. It's not clear to me exactly what the intent was. I've talked to our road staff. I spoke with the former Public Works Director, Roy Kinnian, and I've actually spoke to Mr. Jim Beisman about this. I thought it was pertinent to speak to him since he was mentioned specifically. And when I did speak to him, I reminded him that I realize I'm asking him to recall a conversation from 24 years ago. That is a long time, but at least it was, I thought it would be, objective to speak to him about it. And to the best he recalled, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I do want to paraphrase, from what I learned from him, that the county didn't intend to maintain it in the future. He wasn't clear why it stated that, but he did offer that it was a possibility that depending how any disaster relief funds were acquired, there may have been a requirement through FEMA or some grant or however those funds were obtained, that an agency did maintain it. That was what he offered at the time, but to his recollection, no, the board didn't intend to maintain it in the future. But what I lend to it more is after speaking with him and Roy Kenyon and our road crew and all the staff that have been there, to the best I can uncover, our department hasn't provided any maintenance of that bridge in the last 16 years at least. And so that shows me a pattern that, well, whatever the intent was at the time, how did that play out? So I'm under the impression that no, there wasn't an intent to maintain that in perpetuity. Unless there's a board order specifically stating that the county would maintain that bridge. And that's what I believe Administrator Johnson was referring to.
Mind if we
Yes.
scroll down to the next paragraph? I don't know if you're going to touch on that.
Go right ahead.
Could you
Please.
scroll down? So if you read the first three sentences, the conversation continues. Mr. Bovet explains that we cannot use county funds for local access roads, only if it's a county bridge or a county road. So under the law, that's not allowable. So I think that conversation continued into the next topic. And then I think it was explained that an exception occurs, obviously, if there's an emergency, say the bridge washes out, that would be an exception that Mr. Dewan's talking about, that FEMA would come in.
Okay.
But so that conversation did continue into the next paragraph. That's all I wanted to point out.
Oh, well, thank you. And actually further down in the staff report under discussion, what we did include was several provisions in the Oregon Revised Statute, specifically Chapter 368, that provide the provisions for how we address, monitor, or work on local access roads. And within the definition specifically, it defines county road and a local access road. And just to reiterate, although I believe you are familiar with it, any public road outside of a city that's not maintained by the state or another agency would be deemed a local access road. For it to become a county road, the county has to take explicit action to, I phrase it as grant it county road status. There's variations of how it can be stated, but you basically acknowledge or take it into your maintenance system that is in a county road, and then we maintain it. Without that, it would be considered a local access road. Further down, I believe on the following page, within Chapter 368.016, County Authority over Roads, in Section A, it says, a county governing body does have jurisdiction over any public road that is a state does not have jurisdiction over any public road that is a state highway. And B, shall only take action involving a local access road within a city if the city governing body consents to the action. And C, may by resolution or order make any public road within its jurisdiction a county road. So it's a long way to get to that, but that's what I was leading to.
Pardon me, what page are you on there?
That would be page 3.
I'm on page 3.
Okay,
Staff report.
back to 3.
Staff report.
Okay,
Yes,
just
sir.
tracking you. Okay, appreciate that. I see it now. Thank you.
And so there is a pathway to make a local access road a county road, and it can be quite simple. Just by resolution, the board grants a county road status. Further down in Chapter 368.031, county jurisdiction over local access roads. It says a local access road that is outside a city is subject to the exercise of jurisdiction by a county governing body in the same manner as a county road, except as follows. Number 1, a county and its officers, employees, or agents are not liable for failure to improve the local access road or keep it in repair. And number two, a county governing body shall spend county funds on the local access road only if it determines that the work is an emergency or if county road official recommends the expenditure, the public use of the road justifies the expenditure, and the county governing body enacts an order resolution authorizing the work and designating the work to be either a single project or a continuing program. And I'm sorry I made that such a long pathway, but I think it's important to point that out because it regulates how we respond to local access roads. Basically, we can't spend money on local access roads under state law, and it's easy to say, no, we're not going to place rock on this road. But we also view it as those funds pay our staff time. So if we're not supposed to spend money to improve something, should we really spend time addressing it? So it's been a challenge on how much do we, how much attention do we pay to local access roads? How involved do we get? We do want to be, good stewards to the public and help out, but it's been hard to monitor that.
So quick question to kind of underscore Council Yule's point. You can see there's some continuity. I agree with you going into that Westwood Village subheading. Just curious, does anybody know what the LAID on Westwood Village was at the time? It just says LID, but was it also a bridge?
It was, no, I think it was local improvement district just for the roads.
Just for in general? Okay, okay.
Question.
I just, but you're right. I mean, it's like the minutes there, I see they seem strung together to me. So thank you.
I do have a question.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Michael, you had said that kind of in the records you could come by that we haven't done maintenance on the Johnson Bridge for 16 years.
Mm.
So does that mean you kind of do have some record or idea that we were doing it up until like 2008-ish? Is that, or did I mishear you?
No, I don't have any record of it. I
Okay.
could not verify it with anyone.
Yeah.
As you may be aware, the former Public Works Director, Roy Kinnan, was here longer than that.
Yep,
And
forever,
again, I
yes.
don't want to put
Yeah.
words in other people's
Okay.
mouth, but it was my interpretation from what he described that the county in general hasn't provided maintenance since he'd been here.
Okay,
that
all right. I
location.
think that's what I kind of misheard. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, I
The
heard,
report
thank you.
specifically states or points out 16 years, because that would be in around 2008 when
Yep.
the road district was formed. And
Oh,
although the
okay.
discussion has been, and I apologize for making this such a long route to get to a couple key points, but between the communications that our offices had with the road district was, regardless of what the intent was at the time, according to those meetings from 2000,
Mm-hmm.
that once the road district was formed, the road district assumed the responsibility for maintenance of the roads, and that would include the bridge.
Can I speak on that just briefly?
Yes.
Yes.
So when a road district is formed, a special road district, they're their own separate legal entity.
Mhm.
So they're their own governing body. They assume the responsibility over all those roads that are within the boundaries of their district. Essentially, it's their governing body's legal responsibility, just like the
Mhm.
county roads are for us. So, and we
Yeah.
have quite a few in the county.
We do,
Which is-
and I wonder how many really, not many have
Well, you
bridges.
used to know how many, but the
Right,
recommendation when people would come to us with local access road concerns is, this is your route to getting
Yeah.
your roads maintained, is you can form a special road district. And so that's the route. Mr. Bovet was actually the assistant county counsel at the time that assisted this group to form the special road district. So that's all.
Okay. You still,
No, I think I mean, clear as mud. Yeah. I think
Well, and again,
Yeah.
I don't believe this report was presented in a way to point out that, no, we are not responsible, for a specific reason other than, to help explain how we got here
yeah.
and why our department hasn't responded to maintaining the bridge.
Well, and I appreciate the thorough excavation of documentation that we can find, no pun intended, right? Like, I think it appears we've got about all we can. You've reached out to Biesman, which is great,
I did.
to see if anything, might resonate there. I do want to, I'm in a neighborhood that has an LID. I certainly know my practical experience, there was never any expectation that the county was going to continue to maintain our roads. Okay,
Yeah, and I would, I would just say too, that kind of as I see it, and this is maybe some stuff I'd like to hear comment on from the Johnson Street Road District, but I see there's kind of two issues.
hmm,
One is there is an immediate repair issue that the
Yes.
bridge is experiencing. So how that gets done
Mhm.
is one immediate issue. The second issue is kind of who owns it or who's responsible for it. But to me, actually, number one and the immediate repair of the bridge is actually, to me, like rises to the top as sort of the most important issue is how
Agreed.
that road gets repaired. So that's just
Agreed
how
with
I'm
you.
thinking about it.
Commissioner Hall, any thoughts so far? I certainly want to hear from the folks of the community.
Yeah, I would like to hear from them as well.
Okay.
Before we go on to
Or we-
that, do you want us to go over the recommendations that we have? Or would you like us to wait after you take testimony?
I think I'd like to hear testimony. I actually have a potential other recommendation too, but I'd like to maybe hear
Okay.
first. And
Yeah, let's, so you've signed up and my sense is you kind of have an order with which you'd like to go?
No.
No, but
No, you
just-
each get 3 minutes, but yeah. Each.
Correct. Yes. And Kenneth, do you have a list? So help us just sort of help you figure out what order you want to go.
It-
And then,
They said what they wanted. Well, Lynn's the first one signed up anyway. Lynn, you're first. on the
Lynn, you
list.
want to start?
just
introduce it, then we'll see.
And Lynn, also as are you gonna have any printed materials that you're submitting for the
No,
record
we
at
just
all?
got this report 2 days ago, so
Okay.
I'm going
Okay.
to be working off of that.
Okay,
Anyway. Okay,
yeah, go ahead.
so we've got 3 things going here. One is.
Wait, but Lynn, state your name
Oh, I'm
for us
sorry.
for the
My name
record.
is Lynn Smith, and I'm a property owner and resident there, plus I'm on the board of,
Okay, and you are on Bear Creek Hideout as a board member as well?
yes.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, we got sort of 3 sections, which we have who's really responsible for the long-term maintenance. And that's probably going to take a little bit more because there's a history. And there is a little more information than Dewan had. 2 is that the bridge has not been maintained. And to the best of our knowledge, it hasn't been maintained since 2000 because the LID, the homeowners were under the impression that, can we get back to the minutes, page 3? The one you were on before, right there, right there.
Sure.
That one. Thank you. Okay. That whole hearing started for the assessment sorry, I'm nervous. Talk about the assessment, but before that, they had to clear up some issues because there were problems with the bridge. Like 2 months after the bridge was completed, all that was put down as far as any kind of support under the bridge on a pretty busy stream was tarp and riprap. Okay, which within 2 months washed away. So we started out with something that wasn't working properly to begin with, had never been, to our opinion, properly supported and put together. So the county, yes, at their expense, did come through, and it says that up there, and put more rock down. I've heard from,
You still have 30 seconds or a minute left.
oh geez.
Oh,
Okay.
No, I'm sorry, that's time. No, I'm sorry, it's not. It's 45
Keep
seconds.
going. Yeah, keep going.
14.
Anyway, so basically what he said, they said that they would maintain the bridge. Doesn't look like it was ever really properly fixed. So whether they are intentionally, meant to mean that forever or not, isn't it? Our position and what we take from that as at that point, that bridge was made a separate entity from the road. Because the road, the neighborhood always maintained the roads and continued after that. It was only the bridge that was talked about, and they said that they would maintain it. And I'm not anywhere near done, but,
Okay.
so.
I'm Dorothy Abbott. I was at your meeting 24 years.
Oh,
Wow.
I know
Okay.
the history because my husband and I talked to Jim Bison.
Okay.
That's why I'm here. Because the bridge, we were forced to put in a cement bridge. Jim Bisman recommended it because it was a no-maintenance bridge. At that point, they talked about the property owners paying for it. Then we had the flood that Lynn just talked about that took out all the stuff under the bridge 2 months after this bridge was put in, that we paid $75,000. We came to the meeting in March, made our presentation, as you can see. There was four of us there. And that's why the county said they would maintain our bridge, because we paid for this, and whatever person put the bridge in,
Mm.
somehow it was not put in the right way, maybe. All I'm saying is that's why Jim Bison was at this meeting and the commissioners, and they said, we will maintain this bridge because you paid all this money and we will make sure. Because also I have documentation that Jim Bisman wrote to me with OBEC, or, you know, whoever he was working with, put this bridge in, said it'd be a 50-year bridge. And every year or two, the water comes up to the one embankment, and that's what the problem is right now that you probably have reports on. It takes the dirt from underneath it that's supporting our bridge. It hasn't started tipping. We've talked to the inspectors that have came, and they think the bridge needed to be longer. But that's not up to us. We didn't build this bridge. And that's why the creek comes up and floods it.
Okay.
You still have a minute.
Still have 45
Yeah.
seconds.
I mean, I've submitted a letter, probably Katie has it, I don't know, about the whole history, because I was involved.
Okay, so you got a written version of what you're saying to us.
Yes,
Excellent.
And this has been submitted.
Okay.
Hey, Dorothy, if any,
And Jim Bisman at the Public Works Director, he sent me the copy of that. So he was aware, and he's the one that mailed it to me. And so he was saying at that time, we are going to maintain this bridge for you.
Okay.
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, Dorothy, if you have documents that I don't already have, then at the end of the meeting, I'll come get them and make a copy.
Thank you.
Don't run out the door
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you have
Thank
stuff
you.
that I.
Good
make a copy
idea.
of. Yeah,
Basically, this was a history, you know.
okay.
I think you're touching on your core points, which is good. Can we just keep this going then and jump to the next person? And this is helpful.
Since I'm not reading your names out, if you would make sure you introduce yourself. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, thank you for having me. My name is Timothy Jones, and I reside at 242 North Ashcroft Street, which is the furthest distance as you come off the bridge, and that's one way in and one way out. I just want to say that the bridge, I was also president of the road committee for a year, so I've been privy to the conversation with the committee members.
Timothy, how far back do you go in the community?
I go back over 40 years
40
in the
years.
community.
Wow.
I've lived there now full-time for 8 years, but I've been coming down here hunting, fishing, and
Okay.
for 40 years, I've been coming down, going across that bridge.
Okay, thank you.
I remember when it was wooden, they repaired it in 1999, like was stated. My concern and concern of my neighbors and the other members of the committee is what about the weight limit that the county just put on our bridge? 5-ton weight limit. That means that no fire trucks, garbage trucks, dump trucks, Pacific Power, and other kind of basic needs that we're going to need if, say, my wife got sick 3 years ago, how was the fire truck and firemen, first responders going to come across the bridge now? The power goes out if you sneeze out there during storms. You know, the ice storm devastated that area. And, you know, we need those basic needs. You know, my wife got sick again, had a heart attack. What am I supposed to do? Just stand there and holler, hey, we're over here on the bridge, instead of them coming to us like they're supposed to. Garbage service. Now I got to walk my garbage, which I'm not a lazy person, but I do pay for curbside, you know, service from North Lincoln. And now I got to walk my garbage can, my recycling can, and my, I call it poopy bottom, excuse me, but my refuge box. You know, all these things have now changed because, you know, maintenance of the bridge is in dispute. I think Dorothy said it well, and I was privy to that letter. And I would seriously consider, or have you guys consider this matter very important to the members of the community.
You still have 1 minute if you.
Yeah, it's just, I'm sorry, I'm kind of emotional because it's, you know, that's just me, I guess.
It's okay.
But, you know, like I said, you know, if one of us over there, and there's more than them that aren't here today, that are elderly, there's another gentleman that lives across the bridge and he's right there. But, you know, if the bridge is not accessible by emergency vehicles, or he needs help getting out of there of some sort, you know, what's he supposed to do?
Yeah.
You know, so I would, I'd really urge you guys to look at this matter seriously and take into consideration whatever you decide and come up with.
You were very clear.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next here, what do you got? Oh, there he is.
My name is Michael Smith. I'm current president and treasurer of the Bear Creek Hideout Number 2 Special Road District. I've been on the road district for 8 years and living in the community for about 9 years.
Okay.
It's clear that the community and community members who were at the meetings in 2000 and were in the original LID that formed the bridge had an entirely different interpretation of the minutes of that meeting, and an entirely different understanding in the neighborhood about who's responsible for the maintenance of the bridge. I want to skip over all that. I'm here for 2 main reasons this year, and excuse me if I read my notes. I can give you all a copy of them if you like.
Please do.
The first time that came to our attention in the road district and the county's view that the road districts were responsible for maintenance were in 2022. Prior to that, nobody had ever raised a correction that the county was not maintaining the bridge. We all thought that they were. When the road district was formed, I talked to members of the community who formed the road district. There was nothing in the election materials or nothing in the vote to form the special road district that had an understanding they were assuming responsibility for the bridge. My lay understanding and reading of Oregon state statutes are LIDs and SRDs are entirely different legal entities. They may overlap. One does not subsume the responsibilities or ownership of the other one. Okay. All of that aside, what I'm here for is 2 reasons. One is to declare a state of emergency. As Tim mentioned, the road district received a letter from ODOT putting a 5-ton limit on that bridge. They also helpfully informed North Lincoln Sanitation that their trucks were now too heavy to go across the bridge. And so all the residents got notification that they wouldn't be getting trash pickup service anymore. That caused Tim and I both to look up vehicles that commonly serve neighborhoods like ours and whether they would be able to cross the bridge or not. UPS delivery truck, 5 to 8 tons, no. FedEx delivery truck, 8 to 10 tons, no. Septic pumper, everybody over there has septic tanks. Septic bunker, 6 to 12 tons. Nobody will be able to empty their septic tanks until the bridge is fixed. Fire truck, 10 to 20 tons. Ambulance, 5 to 7 tons. So all of the emergency services and other services that we pay taxes for the county to provide, those residents are not going to be able to get those. And I'm going to run over time, but I'm going to keep talking until somebody drags me out because
Got it.
My time, Jacqueline Wilson. I'm a resident, I yield my time.
the important thing is that emergency services are now restricted across the bridge. The recent Echo Mountain fire, we were all evacuated from that neighborhood, and that reminds us that emergency services, fire lines, fire trucks are important. They need to be able to get where they need to go in a timely manner. Bear Creek and Ashcroft Road formed the last fire break before the ridge to the immediate south of Ashcroft. If the fire reaches the bottom of that ridge, it's going to burn all the way up the ridge. The top of that ridge contains the high tension power lines that serve all of Lincoln City and most of the surrounding communities. So it's not only an emergency for people in our neighborhood, it's an emergency for a good part of the county. Okay. So I'm going to ask the commission to put that bridge on the county maintenance list, to begin remediation as soon as they can. I can go through, I'll give you my longer remarks in writing of all the things that the road district went through to try and fix this, but it's entirely unrealistic to think a county with the public resources that you have cannot take care of that bridge, and they expect a little tiny road district that has an annual budget less than what I pay in property taxes to the county, that has a cap on the ad valorem tax rate that we're able to charge, and expect that run by two septuagenarian volunteers that are getting entirely stressed out about this and may not want to continue on the road district. And believe me, nobody else in the neighborhood wants to take over the road district at this point. All of that smacks of a moral and ethical responsibility of the county to help mitigate the problem. And that's what we're asking. So I
Okay.
appreciate the time and attention, but
Go on.
let me just read this because I worked hard on it last night. So as head of the road district, I have no path forward. Any election, as suggested in the reports that were prepared, to raise the ad valorem tax or establish a bond obligation for the road district has little to no chance of passing. Basically, the 3/4 of the road district constituents are not directly served by that bridge. They live on the other side of the creek. Only 1/4 of them are served by that bridge. So I can imagine an election where we're asked to post a bond or increase our property taxes to replace that bridge. It's not going to happen. I'm unable to serve my constituents because, you know, there's not a real way for that to go forward. The staff report says that performing funding or repairs of this bridge might establish some sort of precedent. I'd like to say that the precedent's already been established. The county has 90 bridges, 87 of them are on the maintenance list. 4 of them are not. So 91, I guess. One of those,
It looks like your comments are written. Are you?
I will give everybody a copy of that.
Yeah, I was
but
gonna say,
please-
before you leave, I can make copies as well.
Please pardon the spelling. They were made to be my notes and not the handouts.
Okay, Ken's gonna
Um,
come grab them from you.
Thank you. Yeah, we want to make sure to get copies of this. Michael, just one quick question. When did that notification come in terms of the 5-ton?
I'm sorry?
When did you receive
I
that
was
letter?
required by ODOT to post it day before yesterday, and the signs went up then. And the other thing, you know, there's a lot of talk, and I don't fault you for this, Michael. There's a lot of talk that the fact that the county has never performed maintenance on that bridge, or certainly never since the road district came into existence, that establishes some kind of precedent. I would counter that with saying that if in the county's view, the road district was responsible for maintenance of that bridge, never in the 16 years of the road district's existence were any inspection reports shared with the road district, anything passed on, any notification that the road district was somehow responsible for that bridge. I twice personally attended county training sponsored by Lincoln County and the Special District Association of Oregon. There was no mention of special road districts being responsible for bridges and bridge work. So we feel that we're being totally taken advantage of here, and whether that's true or not, we have no way forward unless the county steps in to help. And I think the justification is beyond the needs of the neighborhood, But certainly the emergency services need of any future development of existing power lines, existing high tension lines, again, that serve much of the county. So we
Well, thank you, Michael.
respectfully ask you to
Yeah.
start maintaining that bridge.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Anyone else signed up?
There was a few other people, but I don't know if they,
Sure.
Greg or Jackie or Lisa?
It's a chance to get some thoughts in here. Now, do we have any?
They didn't, because I'm the one that was at this meeting and it's got everybody in an uproar because
We're all in the back, I'm sorry to interrupt, Dorothy, but we're all in the back there, on the other side of the bridge where 90% of the people that, come live in that neighborhood are up front. They don't even cross the bridge. They never come across, they walk.
So two of the board members were here. Is that it? Or,
That's all there is.
oh, that's all there is. Okay.
That's three, but I
Okay. Did we have anyone online or,
Let's check online.
just in case? If you are online with us, no.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we want to make sure to get copies. We've heard you, commissioners.
I put in my original email to the board. Is
Okay.
that already in there? Because that's where most of my information was.
It is for a meeting several meetings ago, but we can add, it is attached to an agenda for a meeting several meetings ago because that's when you submitted it, but we can add it to the record for this meeting if you'd like.
Was it a thorough overview?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so Ken, why don't you just take a minute and talk about, and I tried to send this an email to Lynn, and maybe I wasn't very clear, but Ken, can you just talk about how our written public comment works and the cutoff? I think that would be helpful. Go ahead.
Sure, there are a couple of different ways to submit it. One of them is the Smart Sheet link. It's on the agendas and it's also on the contact or about commissioners page of the website. You can also always email public comment to boc@co.lincoln.or.us. Just try to specify that you would like it entered into public comment because we get lots of different kinds of email there. You can also mail something to 225 West Olive Street, room 110, and we can include that in the agenda.
Yeah, and we do have so if you're doing written public comment, we do have a cutoff time, which
Oh,
is,
sorry, that is noon the day before the meeting, so typically noon Tuesday.
so if you come in at, say, 5 o'clock the day before a meeting, it would just go till the next meeting on that packet. So the information you had submitted previously is in public record for the meeting that it was submitted close to, if that makes sense. Yeah, we got it. It was in the packet.
Okay.
No, I've got everything you've sent, Lynn.
The other thing I would just say is, while we do limit our public comment to 3 minutes, if you have long information to give, there is no word cutoff or anything on written public comments. So you can write a book and submit it to us for written public
Yeah.
comment if you would like. Yeah.
Yeah.
The road district did come to that bridge after the flood and dumped rock. So they should have counted, well, not the road, not road district.
Yeah.
but the county
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
dumped rock.
Thank you, Council Yule. Okay, my recommendation would be to maybe follow up with things that you might have not mentioned before. Make sure to get those in writing for us. Can we have Administrator Johnson, I guess, or at least Mr. Dewan, could you come up? Okay, commissioners and community, remember, this is just discussion today. We're reviewing all of this information. Any pathway forward for you right now?
Well, so on page 1 on the staff report, thank you, Administrator Johnson, has 3 recommendations. I'm just going to read those real quick. Provide grant assistance led by Public Works, Road Department, in concert with county grant researchers and writers to search and write financial support for the repair work too. Assistance by Board of Commissioners with state legislators in identifying financial assistance. Capital projects requests form would be the thing I would recommend. Provide technical assistance in leveraging future road district funds. Okay, paraphrase there. I guess I have kind of a question and then I have like a fourth possible recommendation or idea to maybe throw around or discuss or maybe bring back next time for discussion as well. My question, someone brought up, an emergency declaration on the bridge because of the weight limit. Because maybe ownership of the bridge is in question, would that be a road district emergency or would that be a county declaration for the bridge? And then Michael, my other question is, when you have a weight limit on bridge, does that mean emergency service vehicles can't go through? Like that's for everything? What's the,
Depending on the weight limit.
okay.
May I?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate the testimony that was given. If I can just go back a little bit, the presentation Administrator Johnson and I gave, I think it was long-winded to get to the point of, is the county obligated to maintain the bridge? And our point to that was, unless there's documentation that states otherwise, no, we're not obligated to maintain that bridge. Now, the question I think before you is, should we maintain the bridge? And that is a different question. And I appreciate the testimony that was given here today. One, I don't want to say an easy way, but a simple way to maintain the bridge or to make repairs to it is for, and it's spelled out in the staff report, the board can declare it an emergency, or I can recommend it and make a few other criteria, which would authorize us to spend county money and county resources and staff time to make the repairs or maintain the bridge in perpetuity. And I don't mean to dismiss anyone's testimony here today. I would not say it constitutes an emergency. It was acknowledged that the road district was made aware of it, although it was as late as 2022. For 2 years, they've known these repairs were made and or needed to be made, and they haven't been made. Now, I don't mean to blame the road district for that, but I just want to put in perspective my view of an emergency. Still, the question is, should the county maintain it? Now, for example, the Public Works Department, we recently got notified by ODOT that they're recommending weight restricting another one of our bridges down south. I believe it's on Five Rivers Road. Well, once we post it, our own vehicles or dump trucks won't be able to cross it. So there's a couple miles of county road we can't maintain anymore because we can't take our own equipment across it. So what do we do? And I only point that out to say this isn't rare. This does happen, and it's happening throughout the state. I mean, it's a much larger scale. A lot of the state infrastructure is getting older. ODOT is being more conservative on their analysis for their bridge inspections. So I'm hearing this from other counties as well. However, when I do hear testimony saying that the garbage truck isn't going to pick up my garbage, and what happens when my septic tank gets full, I mean, that weighs on me too. So I think it's reasonable to find a pathway forward to at least assist with repairs. How the board may want to do that, or how the administrator may want to do that, I mean, there are options to it. But I would really caution about doing that because there are other road districts that do have bridges. There are other bridges in the county on local access roads. And we are in a situation where we have much more infrastructure to maintain than we have resources to do it. So whenever we do something additional, we do give up something. I just want to be consistent in what we do.
Appreciate that.
I appreciate that, Michael. Thank you.
Question, in terms of its structural integrity, looking into this winter, I mean, do we have major concerns? What are your feelings on that? I mean,
Yeah, I'd have concerns. I'd have concerns for being able to cross that bridge. I do think ODOT and their consultants are very conservative in their postings, but you got to draw the line somewhere. You know, I just said, a lot of counties are struggling with some of the restrictions that are being put on bridges. But to post it at 5 tons, that is quite low. And as, you know, the winter storms come, I can't predict what happens, but this is basically due, to erosion. And erosion will continue through the winter. With respect to some of the comments that were made about the bridge itself, that it would last 50 years, I'm sure the bridge will last 50 years. The ground it's sitting on is not. I mean, that's the difference. I don't mean to be sarcastic,
Yeah.
But the concrete itself is going to last, but what it's put on is not. And if that bridge was being built today, it would not be the same bridge.
Appreciate
It
that.
would be longer. It would have different footings. I mean, that's a fact. When I looked into the LID, I found that the bridge basically cost around $75,000. And I can't do the inflation over time in my head, but they saved a few pennies on the bridge. I'll acknowledge that.
Michael,
And
there,
today they're
oh,
seeing the effects of it.
sorry.
Sorry.
On the page 1 of the report, so the estimated cost range was 35 to 150. I think when I talked to you, your guess was like 50 or 65 or something like that.
Mhm.
I mean, is that to get that weight restriction off? Is that,
That would get the weight restriction off.
okay?
And that was a discussion, and that is a wide range of numbers. and
Well, that's my next thing I was going to
I'll
say.
be
is It
honest with
seems
you.
quite large, so.
It's from having a discussion with our county engineer about,
Okay.
well, what would you recommend with discussing it with our bridge
Okay.
maintenance supervisor? Well, what would you recommend? And their ideas are go, two different directions. They're both valid.
Okay.
Some are long-term fix ideas, some are temporary fix ideas. I even suggested, maybe if the board wanted to do so, to make repairs, it doesn't mean we would get out there tomorrow. Maybe something temporary to get it through the winter, to ensure it gets through the winter, and then something more permanent later on.
That's what I was just going to ask. Is there like this is going to sound bad, but and I'm not an engineer, but is there like a piece it together approach and then like a more expensive long-term approach? Like, does that make sense? Is there kind of something you can do now and then find more money and do it better?
A Band-Aid,
So I'd really like to hear from, yeah, yeah.
So please just, okay, all right, continue, Michael.
yes, we do have Band-Aid approaches, and we use really good Band-Aids,
Okay. All right, thank you. Appreciate
if that puts it in context.
So
I think the long-term fix is to think about a future bridge replacement
yeah. Okay.
or severe modifications to the current bridge. As I said, I don't think that style of bridge would be built today. It would be longer, it would have different footings. So these kinds of scour issues wouldn't arise.
Okay.
Can I make a recommendation that could maybe one of the road district representatives meet with staff, Mr. Dewan, Mr. Johnson, I'm happy to sit in, and we can basically look at what funding the county currently has. They could apply for it as the road district, and then move forward with at least making sure that they're safe through the winter, and then looking at a long-term funding opportunities for replacement.
Miss Yule, that's the next thing I was going to say.
Okay.
So you were on, and what I actually was going to say to that is sort of adding a bullet point under recommendations, one things that we can do or talk about, and I think maybe Administrator Johnson and Michael and someone from the road district following up is we did have some ARPA money that was dedicated for not road district, sorry, water, sewer, and drainage districts. And we have, hang on just a minute, and I can tell you, we have about 66,000 left in that category. I was kind of getting ready to reallocate it, didn't quite get it together for this meeting. Maybe that's a good thing. And so we could talk about that money going to the district. It is federal money. That means over 50K, you have to go through a federal audit. So maybe the 50K mark is better. But that is a potential, maybe good Band-Aid solution, at least for now, before going after a capital project request form with the legislature or something like that. So maybe a follow-up with everyone to talk about that would be the next step.
Yeah, I think Council Yule, that's a great recommendation. I mean, if we do good Band-Aids, it's better than bad Band-Aids, but a Band-Aid nonetheless, right? And these larger themes, we're going to need to look at, because you're right. I mean, if we start here, where does it end in terms of our commitment to?
And I want to follow up on that when Mr. Dewan is talking about using county resources. So
Yeah.
using that was where I was going, Commissioner Jacobson, is the ARPA funding that's available. But that would be the road district. We'd provide, they'd apply for the monies. They would hire the contractors to do the work. Mr. Dewan really does not have the staffing to do.
And it has to be in a contract by 12/31. So
Yes. So it would
Yeah.
be moving quickly.
Well, if I can clarify, since we use the word Band-Aid numerous times and it's actually recorded, my thought on a Band-Aid
Yeah.
approach would be that the weight limit or the weight restriction is being imposed due to the scour that's occurred.
Hmm.
Stream washes by, washes the dirt away, what the bridge sits on is washing away. To have the weight restriction removed, you basically need to backfill and compact that. And so the bridge is setting on something.
Mhm.
Now, is that a Band-Aid approach? Yes, it is, because the stream will continue to erode over time. That's the long-term solution that, well, how do you address that? Is that much more riprap? Do you redirect the creek? You know, those are issues that will take longer to look at. So when we use the term Band-Aid, I don't want it to be used as negatively as it normally is.
Okay.
Band-Aids do stop
Yeah.
bleeding. So maybe a follow-up and before we adjourn, if those of you again that have like paper stuff that we don't already have, I will stay and talk to you and go make a copy and give it back to you. So
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so it sounds like we've got a good concept here. Someone from the road district, staff, meet together to discuss some things. We get some interim options as we look further down the road for really a permanent solution. Commissioners, does that kind of seem like where we're going right now? Now, does that mean we discuss this at the next, are we the 6th? I mean, wait, we have a weird schedule due to AOC. So 27th. Are we comfortable seeing this again on discussion?
I'm hoping we're going to have something in place moving forward.
I was gonna say, if we move forward with ARPA money, we would probably need to be ready with a contract or
Yes.
something by that meeting or very
Okay.
close or by the December 5th meeting. Yeah.
You'd have to bid it.
We
Or-
could,
You
well,
just can't arbitrarily
And
do
they
that.
would.
Tim, we can talk about that offline. Yeah.
Okay.
And Chair Miller, I will not be in attendance on the 27th,
Okay.
if that matters.
Okay.
But given the cost range that we may be looking at, it may not be applicable to competitive bidding.
Okay.
Get 3 quotes and
Chair,
Yes, sir.
I need to leave the meeting.
Okay.
I'm gonna send something back in here, just turn it off.
Okay. Thank you, Kenneth.
The public comment is attached to the meeting agenda.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay, commissioners, anything else on this? Okay. I did want to talk to you, Michael, when the meeting is over, okay? Okay. Thank you.
My hand, because I wanted to respond to or amplify a thing that Mr. Dewan said that wasn't entirely correct in an answer to a question from the.
Well, let's,
Not having to do with who's
Okay.
responsible or anything, but the question was the immediacy of the problem. And the bridge report that was shared in the comprehensive packet that was put together for the board's attention is not the most recent inspection. The one that ODOT responded to was an inspection done this summer. And apparently that didn't make it to these guys, but it was forwarded to me by
shall I yield my chair?
yes, forward that to us, okay? And you and I will talk about that to make sure we get it. Okay, we'll touch on that.
I'll be happy to send you the email.
Okay, so let me find the agenda. Where am I?
We're on,
Commissioners.
we're on commissioner reports, which
Okay,
don't-
I have
I have nothing to
nothing,
report.
either of you?
I have nothing.
Okay, nothing there.
public comment.
So looking at public comment, we have written comment that is online and in the packet for those that want to see it. Anybody else signed up other than the Johnson Creek Bridge issue in the room? No, okay, we're gonna take a real quick look at our online activity. So use the raised hand function if you would like to provide virtual public input. And,
There was just staff a minute ago. Yeah.
whoops. Boy, I'm not very good at this anymore, you
You got a
guys.
little rusty, didn't you there?
Little out of practice.
Where's it at? Should I? Oh, here we go. Hey. I can get there. Okay, so attendees, panelists. Okay, no, so we have no virtual public input. Our next meeting is, somebody help me?
It is Wednesday, November 27th at 10 a.m., both in this room and hybrid.
Okay, thanks everyone for your participation today. We are adjourned at 12:12.
Okay, I'm gonna go.
Okay.
I'll go make copies.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And my wife pointed out to me that the most recent bridge inspection that I mentioned, and you could, so you have it in your information somewhere.
Okay,
So,
great. All right, I'm gonna go get copies.
okay.